Hello, dear listeners, and welcome aboard Spooky October. Please mind the gap between this world and the next. I'm your host, Amy, and tonight we're hopping on a train that doesn't believe in arrival times or mortal limits. We're talking haunted railways, locomotives that keep rolling long after their engineers have clocked out. Permanently. Grab your lanterns, your courage, and possibly some sage, because this episode is going off the rails.
The Silver Train of Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm's metro system, known for its art-covered tunnels and spotless design, hides a darker story. Late-night commuters in the 1970s began reporting a mysterious train unlike any other. Metallic, silent, unnumbered, and completely unstaffed. It gleamed silver instead of the usual green or red, and its lights flickered with a strange hum. Witnesses called it Silverpilen, the silver arrow. Some said it stopped for no one. Others swore they saw passengers inside, pale-faced, unmoving, as though they'd been riding for decades. The legend grew from truth. Stockholm did have a few unpainted aluminum prototype trains in the 1960s. One of them, Train C5 number 1300, was occasionally used for testing. Because it lacked normal markings and interior ads, it gave off an eerie, sterile vibe. Over time, tales of a ghost metro spread, and one urban myth claimed it carried lost souls to Kimlinga Station, an abandoned, unfinished stop where only the dead get off. Sweden is known for punctuality and minimalism, but apparently not ghost control. A Stockholm transit worker once told Dagens Nyheter newspaper he entered an empty Silverpilen train parked for maintenance, only to hear faint murmuring voices in the cars, though the doors were locked and power was off. He left immediately, and so would I.
This haunting ride is brought to you by Phantom Pass. Tap once for the afterlife. Tap twice if you regret it. Works in all underworld stations except Kimlinga.
Moonville Tunnel, Ohio, USA.
Tucked deep in the Zaleski State Forest lies the Moonville Tunnel, one of Ohio's eeriest relics of the 19th century rail boom. The town of Moonville, once a mining community, disappeared in the early 1900s, leaving behind little more than gravestones and this 250-foot stone tunnel carved through the Appalachian Hills. In 1880, a brakeman was killed while walking the line through the tunnel, struck by an oncoming train as he tried to signal another. Ever since, hikers and ghost hunters have reported a lantern-wielding figure who appears in the dark, waving frantically before vanishing into thin air. In 1989, a local resident named Mary Fouch reported seeing a man holding a dim lantern in the tunnel. He was there for a second, she said, then gone. I ran so fast I probably broke a track record. Others have photographed strange mists and lights inside, with no logical explanation. Paranormal groups like Haunted Ohio have recorded electronic voice phenomena, EVPs, near the tunnel, one of which allegedly whispered, "Watch for the train." I'd argue that's excellent advice, ghost or not.
Sponsored by Brakeman's Blend Coffee, the only brew strong enough to keep you awake through the graveyard shift. Or the graveyard.
The L&N Ghost Train, Kentucky, USA.
The Louisville and Nashville Railroad was one of the South's most vital lines, but it's also the source of one of America's most chilling phantom train tales. Locals in Ether, Kentucky, claim a full locomotive, glowing faintly white, thunders past at midnight. The first report dates back to the 1920s, when residents heard a train barreling down the tracks, on a line that had been dismantled years before. In 1932, a newspaper in Bowling Green reported that multiple witnesses, including a sheriff's deputy, saw a lighted engine pass through town without a sound. No steam, no smoke, no crew, the article read, and it vanished before our eyes. Some historians believe the haunting traces back to a fatal derailment in 1905 near the same stretch of track, where an engineer named William H. Floyd was killed instantly when his engine overturned. Locals say his spirit still drives the route he never finished. Now that's workplace dedication. He's been on call for over a century.
Tonight's Spectral segment is sponsored by Ghost Line Insurance. Accidents happen even after death. Protect your phantom fleet with us today.
Begunkodor Station, West Bengal, India.
In 1967, a railway worker at Begunkodor Station in Purulia district reported seeing a woman in a white sari near the tracks. Days later, the station master and his family were found dead in their quarters, the cause, officially, a heart attack. But villagers claimed it was fright. Terrified, railway staff abandoned the station, refusing to work night shifts. Trains were rerouted. For 42 years, Begunkodor became India's most infamous ghost station. In 2009, the station reopened after local politician Mamata Banerjee challenged the superstition. A reporter from the Telegraph India rode the night train and found the place silent and overgrown. Locals told him they still heard a woman's voice calling from the platform. "We don't go there after dark," said one porter. "She asked for a ticket. No one dares to give it. If a ghost wants to buy a ticket, I say sell it. That's good revenue."
Begunkodor's spooky tale is sponsored by Spectral Sari Dry Cleaners. When you've been haunting since the 1960s, a little starch goes a long way.
The Gurdon Light, Arkansas, USA.
Near the small town of Gurdon, a mysterious blue-white light floats above the old railroad bed. The legend dates back to the 1930s when a railroad worker named Will McLean was allegedly murdered by a co-worker during an argument over a lantern. Locals say his restless spirit still searches for his missing head, carrying his spectral light. The NBC show Unsolved Mysteries filmed the phenomenon in 1994. Crews saw the light appear and hover 8 to 10 feet above the tracks. Scientists suggested piezoelectric effects from quartz crystals, but couldn't reproduce the light elsewhere. Dozens of witnesses over decades describe it the same way, flickering, color shifting, and moving with intelligence. I'm not saying it's a ghost, but it's definitely not swamp gas doing choreography.
Brought to you by Railbright, the only flashlight with a ghost repellent guarantee. Because when you're alone in the Arkansas woods, you don't want your batteries or your bravery dying.
The Phantom Funeral Train of Abraham Lincoln.
When President Abraham Lincoln's body was carried from Washington, D.C. to his hometown in Springfield, Illinois, in April 1865, thousands lined the rails in mourning. But witnesses since then claim the train still runs its route, each April, right on time. Called the Lincoln Ghost Train, it's said to glide through Albany, Buffalo, and Springfield on moonlit nights. The engine is jet black, draped in crepe and flowers, with an honor guard of spectral soldiers saluting silently. A 1920s New York rail worker named Frank Geiger swore he saw it. It made no noise, but the air grew cold as it passed. The lights of my lantern went out. When I relit it, the tracks were frozen with frost. Newspapers in the late 1800s also recorded similar reports from night watchmen in upstate New York. Even in death, Honest Abe runs on time. Imagine haunting Amtrak today. The delays alone would kill him all over again.
This segment is sponsored by Honest Abe's Afterlife Travel Agency, where every route is direct, dignified, and slightly depressing.
Blackpool's Cloggy Ghost Train, England.
At Blackpool Pleasure Beach, the ghost train ride opened in 1930, the world's first to use that name. But in the 1940s, a worker nicknamed Cloggy maintained the ride until his death. Ever since, employees swear the attraction's truly haunted. They hear his distinctive wooden clogs echoing down empty corridors. Tools move on their own. Lights flicker right before breakdowns. A security guard in the 1990s told Lancashire Live that he locked up the ride one night, only to hear laughter inside. When he opened the doors, no one there, but the ride had powered itself on. Investigators with Most Haunted filmed there in 2004 and claimed to record footsteps and a voice saying, "Still working." So to be clear, it's a haunted ride, haunted by its haunted maintenance man. That's basically the British version of overtime.
This ghastly segment brought to you by Cloggy's Industrial Footwear. for ghosts who refuse to rest and mortals who just love the sound of a good creak.
So, dear passengers, we've reached our final stop. From Sweden's Ghost Metro to Kentucky's Phantom Freight, one thing's clear. When it comes to trains, the schedule may end, but the stories keep rolling. Until next time, keep your lanterns lit, your tickets handy, and remember, if you hear a train coming down an abandoned line, don't wait to wave. Run.
This episode was powered by Spreaker Express, the podcast platform that guarantees your voice will haunt the internet forever. Upload your next episode before midnight, if you dare.